Carlos had been working in construction for 15 years. He was experienced, skilled, and respected by his crew. He'd seen it all from small residential projects to massive commercial developments. Like many seasoned workers, Carlos had developed habits over the years, some good and some that had become a little too relaxed. One particular Monday morning, Carlos arrived at a high-rise construction site in the heart of the city. The project was progressing well, and his team was responsible for installing steel beams on the 12th floor. It was routine work for someone with his experience. The weather was perfect clear skies, mild temperature, just a light breeze. Everything seemed like a typical day. As Carlos prepared for his shift, he went through his usual routine. He put on his hard hat, his work boots, and his reflective vest. But when he reached for his safety harness, he hesitated. The harness was uncomfortable, especially on warm days. It added extra time to every movement, made it harder to bend and reach, and honestly, he'd worked countless days without incident. The site supervisor had been emphasizing the importance of fall protection equipment in recent safety meetings. There were new regulations, updated protocols, and stricter enforcement. But Carlos had decades of experience. He knew how to keep his balance. He understood the risks and how to manage them. For a moment, Carlos stood there, harness in hand, weighing his options. It was just a small decision where the harness or skip it this once. The rational part of his mind knew what he should do, but the comfortable, convenient option was tempting. The choice that changed everything. Carlos made his decision. He put on the harness. It wasn't a dramatic moment. There were no cameras, no applause, no recognition. It was simply a quiet choice to follow safety protocols, even when it would have been easier not to. He secured every strap, checked every connection, and attached his lanyard to the designated anchor point before beginning his work. About 2 hours into his shift, something unexpected happened. While Carlos was positioning a heavy steel beam, another worker accidentally knocked over a stack of materials on the floor below. The sudden crash startled everyone in the area. Carlos instinctively stepped back, but in that split second of distraction, his foot caught on an uneven surface. He lost his balance and began to fall toward the edge of the platform. The safety harness caught him instantly. The fall arrest system worked exactly as designed, stopping his descent within inches. Carlos hung there for a moment, his heart racing, fully aware of what had just happened. Without that harness, the one he'd almost decided not to wear, he would have fallen 12 stories. The ripple effect. This is where the story becomes truly powerful, because Carlos's decision didn't just save his own life. The impact spread far beyond that single moment. First, there was Carlos's family. His wife, Maria, his 2 teenage daughters, and his elderly mother all depended on him. That small decision to wear his harness meant he would be home for dinner that night. It meant his daughters would have their father at their graduations. It meant Maria wouldn't receive the devastating phone call that changes families forever. Then there was his work crew. The 6 men working alongside Carlos that day witnessed what happened. They saw the harness save their colleague and friend. In the weeks that followed, every single one of them became more diligent about their own safety equipment. What had sometimes felt like unnecessary hassle now had concrete meaning. They'd seen proof that these precautions weren't theoretical, they were life-saving. The story spread throughout the construction company. Carlos became an unintentional advocate for workplace safety. When new workers joined the team, experienced colleagues would share what happened, emphasizing that safety equipment exists for a reason. The company's safety compliance rate increased significantly in the following months. The broader lessons. Carlos's story teaches us several crucial lessons about construction safety and the importance of seemingly small decisions. First, experience doesn't eliminate risk. Carlos had 15 years in the industry, which made him knowledgeable but also potentially complacent. We often assume that expertise provides immunity from accidents, but statistics tell a different story. Experienced workers sometimes take shortcuts precisely because they've gotten away with it before. Every day requires the same vigilance, regardless of how many times we've performed a task. Second, safety equipment works but only when we use it. Construction sites invest heavily in protective gear, training programs, and safety systems. However, the most advanced equipment in the world cannot protect anyone if it remains unused. That harness saved Carlos's life, but only because he made the decision to wear it properly. Third, our safety decisions affect more than just ourselves. When Carlos chose to wear his harness, he didn't realize he was making a decision that would influence his entire work crew, impact his company's safety culture, and protect his family's future. In construction, we work as teams, and our choices create examples that others follow. Positive safety habits spread just as easily as dangerous shortcuts. Prevention over reaction. The most important insight from this story is the power of prevention. Carlos didn't need dramatic rescue efforts, emergency medical response, or months of rehabilitation. He simply needed to follow established safety protocols. The best safety outcome is the incident that never happens. Construction sites have evolved significantly in their approach to worker protection. Modern safety standards exist because of lessons learned from past tragedies. Every requirement in today's safety regulations represents someone's experience, often someone who wasn't as fortunate as Carlos. Fall protection systems, properly maintained equipment, comprehensive training programs, and consistent enforcement of safety protocols all work together to create environments where workers can perform their jobs and return home safely each day. But these systems only function when individual workers make the right choices, moment by moment, shift by shift. Conclusion: Carlos's story reminds us that safety isn't about grand gestures or heroic actions. It's about the small, consistent decisions we make every single day. It's about choosing protection over convenience, following procedures even when no one is watching, and understanding that our actions have consequences far beyond ourselves. The smallest safety decision can have the biggest impact, not just on our own lives, but on our families, our colleagues, and everyone who depends on us. In construction and in life, these moments of choice define outcomes. They create the difference between tragedy and normalcy, between loss and celebration. So the next time you're faced with a safety decision that seems small or inconsequential, remember Carlos. Remember that the harness you wear, the precaution you take, or the extra minute you spend following protocol might not seem important in the moment, but it could be the decision that changes everything. Stay safe out there, and never underestimate the power of doing the right thing, even when it's the harder choice.